Not on Country Squire Radio. We're talking FDA regulations. Super late to the game, but we got some great discussion that's going to help you understand what the layout of the next foreseeable future is about to be.
Yeah, what's going on? There's some just some updates, and we'll get into all that.
Absolutely. Yeah. We've also got a pipe question of the week, quick fire questions, listener feedback, and more happening right now on Country Squire Radio. Welcome to Country Squire Radio. I'm Beau.
And I'm John David.
JD.
Hey, Beau. Good evening, dude.
Good evening to you, sir. How you doing?
Yeah, man, I'm good. Happy Memorial Day to you.
Happy Memorial Day to you as well.
Yeah. Did you get into anything this long weekend here?
Yeah. Well, you know, we my family we were off last week. We were at the beach.
Dude, happy birthday.
Oh, and it was my birthday as well. Yeah. Thank you very much.
What, 35? 34?
34.
Yeah, no, own it, man. Own it. You look good for 34.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's good.
No,
You look like a strapping 32.
Hey, you know, it's interesting because you know I'm so bad with numbers, names, math, just everything really. But I actually thought for 2 years that I was like when I turned 32, I thought I had turned 33.
Yeah.
And so when I turned 33, I thought I was turning 34, but then found out, no, I was actually 33.
You're actually 33.
And so becoming 34, I thought I actually became 34 last year. So I do feel like I both lost and gained a year.
Man, you're a wreck. Golly.
It's a mess.
Well, I didn't know dementia could set in that early, but I understand. No, you know, I turned 34 in January, I guess. And so, you know, and we're just all getting old, man. Yeah. It's kind of, you know, my back's not working the way it used to. I can't have as many beers as I used to. Can't stay up as late as I used to. I just,
well, you can, you just have to pay for it.
You pay for it. And, you know, you get angry at the kids and their skateboards and all that stuff. And it's just, you feel like a bitter old man,
Kick the dog and such. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, man, but we were at the beach. We were at the beach trying to have a good time, and man, it was awesome. But I should mention this because the live show, I'm sure, is already commenting or at least thinking it. Yes, in fact, my beard is.
What'd you do with it?
You know,
it went away.
I have a whole process. Whenever I go to the beach, I always shave off completely.
Okay.
For two reasons. One is because uneven, bearding and everything.
What we're looking at now is probably about a week's worth.
This is a week's worth of growth.
Okay,
a little bit less than, but about a week's worth of growth.
Yeah,
and so and the other thing, of course, is that I really I hate sand just in general, like getting in my hair, and so I don't want it on my face, in my beard.
Yeah,
and so
so you don't want the sand in next to your face and your beard, so you get rid of the beard so it can't collect the sand.
Yeah, you don't have the flavor saver, which you want. But it's no good when
the flavor is sand.
When the flavor is sand,
right?
That's exactly. What about you, man?
Man, no, that's great. You know, we had a good weekend. Man, the wife and I went up to Memphis and had a good weekend there. Went and did some shopping around and a little bit of sightseeing and things like that. Ate some barbecue. That was good. And
did you happen to visit the tobacco store that's downtown at all?
Did not. No,
okay.
No, not.
It's part of the chain, the one that everybody knows.
Oh, the
Tinderbox.
Yeah. You know, there's one now on Poplar up there too.
I think that's been there, if I'm not mistaken.
And maybe it has. Yeah, but it's close to kind of close. It's on Poplar out towards on your way towards 240 and all that. But anyway, Memphis is a cool town, man. I really hope folks, if you're in the South and hadn't made a chance to swing through Memphis, man, go down in town and check out Beale Street and 2nd Street and all that nightlife and everything. It's a lot of fun.
Maybe
we had a good time. We went to IKEA too.
Yeah, of course you went to IKEA. I don't get the IKEA. So what is the appeal of IKEA?
That's a good question because we actually didn't buy anything.
Right.
We went and
but your relationship was intact when you were all said and done. So
no, it was. And we went to we ate Swedish meatballs, or I did, and it was worth it. I was glad
meatballs.
I was glad we went to IKEA. I was glad I felt better after leaving IKEA. I felt like a better person, but we didn't buy anything.
Okay. All right. That's good.
And maybe that's part of feeling like a better person is when you go to IKEA and you don't buy anything.
Hey, look. Props for the balls, man. If they tasted good, then more power to you. I didn't know that you actually could get meatballs. I didn't know you could get
Swedish meatballs.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, they play up the Swedish stuff.
All right. A borky bork.
Right.
We've lost our Swedish audience. Well, man, we got aside from everything that's going on in our personal lives, which is probably way too much more than everybody wanted to hear. What about the shop, man? What's been going on here in the local?
Golly, man, it is just so crazy right now. We are Of course, as everyone knows, getting geared up for the big move here, which is
Mm.
happening in we think it's just a little over a month. We're not positive about that yet because they've got quite a bit of ways to go on the new unit next door. But yeah, so man, getting geared up for that, trying to figure out what things we need to get rid of, what things we need to clear out. I've been telling folks regularly we're taking this old dusty pipe shop with us. It's not going to be a new fancy shop, so I've got to figure out how I can get every little speck of dirt and grime and crushed up tobacco off the floor and transport it over to the new location over there. So man, we're just we're really excited. Man, some sad and kind of bittersweet news this week. Caleb the intern is leaving.
Dude, okay, so I leave for 1 week. What happened?
He is leaving, man. He just this has been in the works for a while, and we didn't want to announce it too early, but it's one of those things that man, he knew things were getting closer to him needing to ramp up at school. Caleb, he's in his 20s. He's got older than the typical college student, but he's kind of getting ready to
married,
finish up. Newly married, and he's like, man, I just really need to focus on school a little more. So they're in a position to be able to do that. Man, we hate that Caleb's leaving us, but this Wednesday will actually be his last day here. And man, Caleb the intern, tobacconist in his own right, man, a fantastic. Just part of our Squire community, such an accomplished blender, even at a young age, and even for only having done this for a couple of years. And man, his shoes are just are going to be big to fill, and we're sad about it. We hate to see him go. We're excited about his future, and glad he's going to finish up his degree and all that stuff. But as far as someone taking on pipes and pipe tobacco at a very young age, very aggressively, very enthusiastically, and just turning it into gold, man. He's going to be sorely missed,
man.
Yep.
Well, not to bury the lead, so to speak, given what we'll be talking about, but
yeah,
of course, he's responsible for a couple of different blends here.
No, that's right.
What tobacco legacy does he leave here at the
Squire? Well, quite a few, and of course, a couple of his blends had to be prematurely retired because the leaf has been hard to get a hold of on a couple of those different tobaccos, but still to this day we've got blends that he has come up with, like Tabac du Chocolat, Northwest Trek, Shepherd's Pie, some of our really good sellers right now that have become really popular. Others that we've had to retire, but hope to bring back one day. Things like Lowland Pine. He was really close to Worcester, which was really gaining some traction there.
Lowland Pine was kind of his breakout, right?
That was his first one. Yeah, that was kind of his first foray into custom blending.
So if you're able to bring it back, I mean, you think he'll come back to bless it as it were?
I would hope so. Yeah, I mean, I feel like anything we do with those names, it's got to meet Caleb's approval. But I love he's so talented. He refuses to get boxed in when it comes to different kinds of tobaccos. So if he sees this tobacco over here and it doesn't normally go with this kind of tobacco over here as far as a blending component, he's not afraid to try it out, and that's inspiring to me. I've learned a lot and been really encouraged by Caleb.
Man.
So yeah.
We
hate to see him go, but man, he's been a joy, and of course he'll still be around the Squire quite a bit. Probably running away from his studies occasionally. So yeah.
So it sounds like there's an internship position open here at Country Squire Radio. Maybe not the Squire, but at Country Squire Radio.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll have to figure out who that's going to be.
Yeah, no, figure that. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Well, the great thing, of course, is that our family is growing. In fact, we actually have a new club member for the International Country Squire Radio Pipe Club.
How about that?
Commodore Perry.
Dude, Commodore Perry. What a strong name.
That's a name you can't intentionally mispronounce. Like, I feel like if you
did, Commodore, you'd be doing disservice. He might come kick your tail.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like,
Commodore Perry, surely that's a nickname, right?
At the Pilgrim level, Commodore joins us.
Surely that's a nickname. Maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe his baptized name is Commodore Perry.
I'll say this.
I hope so.
If it's a nickname, clearly it's because it's deserved. And if it's not, then I would not want to tell him his name is a nickname. You know what I mean? Like,
no, that's true.
You just got to let it play out.
All right. So let's just thank Commodore Perry for joining at the Pilgrim level, our International Country Squire Radio Pipe Club. And man, you can join Commodore Perry if you go to patreon.com/Country Squire Radio. And of course, to help us out, that is a big reason how we get to do this every single week.
I feel like Commodore Perry should be like a title unto itself. you've been Commodore Perry, John David Cole.
Surely he's got like a big hat, right? That he wears regularly.
Should make a big hat
with
send it to him.
Maybe a feather.
We could make him out of those
Like,
Nording pipes
and a tobacco leaf.
Ah,
Yeah.
Make him the tobacco pope, and it'd be fine because you're ordaining,
right?
Oh man, well, we've got an awesome show tonight. For we mentioned this I think last week on last week's episode, how we were kind of recording as news was changing, as kind of the industry was being seismically impacted.
That's right.
And it's good to kind of start off, I think, this particular episode, now that we're 10 minutes in, by stating, that we are, as a show, we've been at this for several years. And one of the reasons why we're able to bring you content on a weekly basis without fail around tobacco, around the pipes, around the industry, is because a lot of times we kind of try to keep things as timeless as possible, and really kind of talk about, things that are kind of relevant to the culture, to the art, to practices, that sort of thing.
That's true. That's a good point, Beau.
Kind of almost into the lore of pipe tobacco at every single level.
As you like to say, the meta narrative.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so, but on occasion, and more often recently than not, there have been some pretty seismic impacts to the industry that we would be doing y'all a disservice if we didn't take a moment to kind of talk about them. And to some extent, this kind of is almost an episode, you could say, that all other episodes related to this topic has been kind of building towards, to some extent.
That's fair.
And what we're talking about is the official FDA regulations that came out as of last, I guess, 2 weeks at this point.
Well, okay, so obviously we know the FDA, they this has been kind of an ongoing thing. What actually happened is our trade organizations that defend and fight for pipe shops, cigar shops, tobacco blenders, pipe makers, things of that nature. They filed a lawsuit against the FDA, and that lawsuit judgment, the initial legal battle in court over that has come down, and it actually came down 2 weeks ago. I guess as we were, or right before we were recording one of our episodes,
right while we were pre-recording episodes, because we were about to be
going out of town a little bit, and unavailable, and we're like, oh crap, we got to talk about this, So lots going on in the pipe industry. Let's kind of back up a little bit and talk about just where some of this comes from. So of course, we all have discussed ad infinitum the amount of FDA regulations that have come down and how those have affected the pipe industry, tobacco blenders, pipe makers, artisan tobacconists like us, everyone in the game, and then obviously folks that are related as cousins, like our cigar friends and things of that nature. So this has been, like you said, you said it well. It's building up to this point. All these regulations came out. They were really difficult for us to get our hands around. A lot of them were very ill-defined. How does the pipe making and the tobacco blending and the tobacco processing industry, how do we cope with this? How do we how do we pivot? What does the FDA even want? They say they want these things, but what do these things even mean? Because they're ill-defined. And so it was just a big uproar there for a while. And so eventually what happened, of course, we have our trade organizations that, just like any industry, you've got kind of your industry groups that help, sponsor and lobby for your interests on, whatever level. And with us in particular, the IPCPR, which the Squire is a member of. It's the International Premium Cigar and Pipe Retailers Association, and of course, our industry would have something that convoluted. To call our trade group.
Any lobbyist group is going to have some sort of acronym.
No, it is right. I mean, right. That's part of it. So, but anyway, they've been around a long time, and and there's some really talented people there that are dedicated to our industry. And so the IPCPR, they joined with the Cigar Rights of America, which we're also a member of here at the Squire, and would suggest that you check out, because they do a lot of work similar, but on the cigar side.
I mean, and is it fair just kind of for some context? I mean, like, the cigar group is a bit, like, they got a bit more muscle to throw around.
Well, and they do. What I was so encouraged about by this lawsuit and how these guys joined together is that they did not leave the pipe guys out.
Right.
You've got, if you're a cigar guy, and some of our listeners are, they know big names like Rocky Patel, that are involved in this kind of thing. Nick Perdomo, who owns his Perdomo cigars. These are names of cigar makers, but they also are incredibly active in promoting and defending our trade. And so they were very intent, and at a very early age, when they partnered with IPCPR, decided to include all the pipe related stuff into their lawsuit. And so that was very encouraging to us. We felt very advocated for in that, and not looked over, which was really good. Of
Yeah.
course, 30 or 40 years ago, certainly it would have been the other way
Other way
around.
around,
It
exactly.
would have been the other. If a lawsuit like
Right.
this would have been filed 40 years ago, that it would have been the pipe industry that would have been doing that, and we would have said, "Oh, cigar guys, you're a small fledgling industry. We'll try to do some things that will help you along." And man, obviously, just the way the market's changed, and that's how it is today. So, but we were very glad to be included in a lot of this. And so those guys, along with the Cigar Association of America, they were basically lobbying a federal court to give us an injunction, some clarification, but also some relief due to these things. So just a 30,000 foot view of what happened. Basically they were asking for a few certain things to happen in this with this ruling. They were asking for that the law would. The law, the way it was written, it didn't give the FDA the authority to regulate cigars and pipe tobacco the way that they wound up doing it, basically. And so that was one of the tenets of the lawsuit. We're suing the government because we think you've done something that you weren't intended to do by this law.
Right.
Another thing was the option where this is more cigar related, but the FDA chose to not to basically say every cigar over $10 is going to be subject to the same standards that a cigarette would be
Oh,
done to
interesting.
it all.
In terms of branding as well?
That's right. And so
Mm.
everything completely different. Like you think about all the beautiful cigar boxes that are so historic and a part of our culture, and just collections and things like that.
I'm
So
eyeing yours right now. I'm like, I'll buy the
I
lot.
I know, right? Exactly. Well, you may want to snatch them up
I
before the end
know.
of the episode here. Yeah. And along with that, large warning labels, things, the taking up 30, 40, 50, 60% of the outside of a beautiful handmade wooden cigar box, things of that nature. Stuff like that.
I mean, why? It seems like the price factor. Like, why would the price even be part of that?
Well, I think what they were trying to do is determine, okay, at what point at what point do cigars become not a everyday kind of cigarette substitute, but more of a hobbyist thing.
Well, wouldn't the more
And so,
expensive be like more the quote unquote fine?
yeah, right. I think the idea is that people were maybe using in the governments. This again, we're thinking like bureaucrats. So from their standpoint,
Right.
if you've got a $2 cigar, they may have regulated that more than a $10 cigar, because a $2 cigar would have at least been something more accessible to the market, more accessible perhaps to lower income people, younger
Gotcha.
people.
Okay, so I think I misunderstood what you said the first
Things
time
like
around.
that. Yeah. So the idea, they basically chose to throw in all the $10 cigars as well with this. And so and when I say $10 cigars, I mean we've got most cigars on the market are kind of between that 6 to 12, at least in premium tobacco shops. And then of
Gotcha.
course cigars, you can pay as much as you want to for a cigar as you can a pipe. They're same kind of thing. Pipes are anywhere from a nickel to $5,000, and cigars are all over the map as well. And so that was the idea. So that was one of the tenets of this lawsuit. And then also that those large warning labels would have been considered unconstitutional, which of course they were arguing. And then also one of the stipulations, of course, was that what we do here in shops like the Country Squire was wrongly interpreted to being considered manufacturing. And so, if you're watching live tonight, right here to my right, your left, of course, is our infamous scale, the scale that's been here for 40 years. I'll hold the pan up so you can see every ounce of tobacco that you ever order from the Country Squire goes through this pan.
And always has.
And always has. And for all I can tell, always will. And it's just one of those things, this ancient scale, taking a leaf that is already on the market, combining it to make our own custom blends. They were going to consider that basically manufacturing, just like they might consider, manufacturing, a billion cigarettes manufacturing that. And so the same stipulations, same regulations, same process and all that. And then finally, the lawsuit, the one other thing that they wanted to seek clarification on was, are pipes considered a tobacco product? Okay, so pipes themselves, the actual wooden briar pipe,
Right.
is that a tobacco product? The way that the FDA said that it was. And so, of
Our
course,
friends in the 420 crowd would say no.
right. They would, but also, a lot of artisan pipe manufacturers that
Would definitely say no.
would definitely say no, as well as some of our favorite large brands. Think of the folks at Savinelli and Peterson and Stanwell and Nording and everywhere else. This no tobacco was used at all in using in making a briar pipe. But anyway, so those were all the things in question in the lawsuit. And then of course, the judge came out, and this is where the news comes from, is the judge came out and basically gave our industry a loss on every single one of these points except for one, and we'll get to that shortly. But basically they've upheld that the FDA did have the right to regulate us, just like the cigarette industry goes, as well as the
And
vape,
by us,
the vape
you
industry,
mean
pipes,
pipes in general.
pipes and pipe tobacco, and as well as cigars. They also came out and said, that no, they can do it however they want. If they want to include premium cigars into this deal, even with the $2 cigars, that's their right to do that. The warning labels they considered to not be a constitutional violation of our freedom of speech, which of course was really disappointing. And then the one that is probably the most absurd from where we stand is that they considered they let the FDA continue to consider a wooden briar pipe to be a tobacco product. And so they're still figuring out, okay, how are they going to do this, right? Like, how do you, let's say you're Savinelli and you're coming out with a new shape. Like, how do you send a wooden briar pipe to be tested by a bureaucrat?
Smoke this.
No,
don't smoke it. Smoke it.
Smoke it. Yeah. So smoke, like, and I want you to be really right. But even then, like, what, how do you test the pipe as opposed to, isn't each different thing you put in the pipe, is that going to make it different, or is it, I mean, I just don't, I don't understand. I don't understand, how do you, how do you
regulate what you're wanting to regulate?
Well, and then, even then, okay, so you've got let's say you're an 8-year-old boy who, your grandfather just gave you your first pocket knife, and you go out in the backyard and you find a little piece of wood and you're like, I'm gonna carve a pipe out of this,
what constitutes a pipe?
and so if you do that and you make a pipe and it hasn't been, you're an 8-year-old boy, you just whittled a pipe out of a reed and a piece of, I don't know, pecan or something you got in your backyard, and then you sell that to your buddy for $3 because he thought it was cool. Did you just break federal regulation? I mean, it blows my mind. You just got to think about kind of the weight of this stuff. And so what's interesting, of course, all these are the points that the industry lost on, but the judge, this is what's so interesting about American legal, jurisprudence and everything that I don't understand. It frustrates the heck out of all of us. And, someone understands it, and I guess there's a reason for it somewhere. But the judge disagreed in his opinion. What was interesting is he disagreed with the FDA's rationale about all these things. And even in his opinion, he said, look, like, I think all this is stupid, but based on how the law is written, I have to rule this way, kind of thing. So it was kind of this interesting balancing act by the judge. And the judge was basically saying, look, FDA, I think you're ridiculous. Like none of this makes sense. This is torturous interference with the industry that's gone out of its way to cooperate and all this other stuff. But my hands are tied. I have to go with this how this is written and all this other stuff. So you've got this balancing act. It's very interesting to see this kind of uh, conflicted judge trying to grapple with this. But we're disappointed obviously in that ruling. Two positives came out of this thing. Okay, one, it obviously is that the judge, the one thing the judge agreed with our industry on was that what the Country Squire does, and other artisan blenders all across the country. Another one of the big blenders that it does it on an artisan basis that would certainly be you know greatly hurt by something like this was L.J. Peretti, of course, in Boston. This is an ancient tobacconist. Something. Their blends have been going around for a long time, but they're not a manufacturer. I mean, they're still a retail tobacconist. This tobacco has been being blended in a similar environment to ours for much longer than ours. They've got some venerated blends, and so tobacconists like that, what are they doing when you're taking leaf that's been already put on the market, and then you're creating a custom blend in a retail environment? Is that considered manufacturing? And of course, thankfully, and we do thank God for this, that the judge came down in favor of the industry on that, and that's so good. That's a big win for
So
us.
in
Yeah.
layman's
terms, I can still sell Cherokee.
there you go.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. I can still sell Shepherd's Pie or Hunting Creek or Blue Ribbon
Shepherd's Pie.
or
Why, that
any,
was just blended a couple of months ago.
exactly. Yeah. But in layman's terms, that's exactly right. And so, those are things that, we have been really concerned about, obviously, over the past
It's the lifeblood of the
years.
shop,
It is,
man.
and so many other artisan tobacconists.
Yeah.
There's just one more reason that for a lot of shops to shut this kind of thing down. Would be this, and of course we were committed to doing whatever we're going to have to do, but this makes the road ahead a lot easier, and so that was one of the major things to come from this. Artisan blenders like the Country Squire were to some degree saved with this ruling. Another thing that came down to, though, and this is something that we think we are going to get more clarification on in the near future, but an appeal is very likely. And there's a way forward. The way the judge wrote this opinion, he has kind of given some hints as to some more promising arguments. So basically, it'd be kind of like if I'm the teacher and you're the student, Beau, and I gave you an F on your essay that
Sounds
you just
about
wrote.
right. Yeah.
But then you say, you know what, Beau, if you wrote this essay again and you wrote it like this,
I had some teachers like that. Yeah.
I'd probably give you an A.
Yeah.
I'd probably give you an A, and that's kind of
That's how
what
I graduated Spanish.
that's kind of what
That's how I passed Spanish. Right?
that and the bottle of Jack Daniels you gave your professor. But
Yeah, she was actually let go of for drinking too much in school.
All right, we'll talk about something else.
We'll talk about something else.
Yeah. But anyway, it's one of those things that we kind of got. There's an opening there that we think can provide some relief maybe down the road. And so that's a positive. And then also there are other lawsuits out there that are basically picking at different pieces of this regulation that we're all hoping will get some traction. Some of them we think are in court environments and some district environments that are more favorable to the pipe and tobacco industry than it would be from the one that we just suffered this other defeat through. But so anyway, we'll see. Yeah. That's where the lay of the land is. I hate to again, this is kind of boring. It's one of those things that
I know, we've talked way too much about
people tune in and
regulation and data and everything else over the last 10 episodes. It's been insane.
Yeah, no, that's it. And it's that's just kind of
but it's important.
We hate that the pipe enthusiast community has had to start caring about this kind of stuff. But honestly, this look, it's without trying to get too political. It's Memorial Day, and these are the types of things that our republic was founded on. How do you what's the interaction between civilian and government? What's the idea of government? How do they interact together? What's the role of one over the other? What what constitutes free speech, what, who has the right to do this or that. That's what America was founded on. That's what so many people gave their life to defend. And we hope that what we do going forward as citizens that love our country but also love premium pipe tobacco. We want to make sure we honor and uphold those things. And so that it's tough going forward. It really is. But there's some silver linings here. I want to point those things out, like for us to be able to continue to do what we do, for there to be hopefully some glimmers of hope on in some other court environments. These are good things. We can continue to look to that and continue to fight.
No, that's good, man.
Yeah.
I like the revolutionary aspect of it too. There, I'm reminded of Hamilton, which I don't think either one of us have ever seen, but I've listened to that soundtrack so many times. And like, if for those that are unaware, in the first half of that, it kind of chronicles Alexander Hamilton's time in the Revolutionary War, and so a lot of everything that goes on is all from the battlefield. And then the second half is after the war is won. Like, the war is won, and the second half is all about kind of the establishment of the American government. And so, like, literally, what was like the intense battlefield, mantras and sounds and everything now go into the courtrooms of kind of the discussions and the debates and everything that's happening. And somehow it becomes more fascinating than the actual battlefield itself. To some extent, I mean,
know, right?
The crazy convoluted legal system that we have is kind of based off this idea that we're solving our problems based, on discussions, and instead of, going out back and taking 10 paces and shooting each other, which also happened in Hamilton 3 times.
No, that's right. That's right.
And Aaron Burr.
It's just a lot going on. We our constitutional rights have come to our front door. They've come to the front door of pipe enthusiasm, of pipe smoking and tobacco blending and artisan pipe making. And so this is what we find ourselves talking about. But anyway, we'll continue to talk, we'll continue to fight, and we'll continue to enjoy our cube cut burley from Peter Stokeby and our Ronaldo handmade YY grade Italian briar.
Yeah. And definitely thankful that the Country Squire and similar pipe stores are able to continue
to blend custom blend pipe tobacco for
without fear of being shut down for the foreseeable future.
That's right.
One other question that I had about this: does this have any impact on the 2-bit hit, or is the 2-bit hit still in effect?
As far as I know, the 2-bit hit is still in effect. Okay. Of course, what Beau is referring to here is, of course, the inability now for people to give away free samples of pipe tobacco. And so the idea where you go into a tobacco store or something, and they're like, hey, you want to try that? Okay, yeah, get you a little bowl, see if you like it. And then, as long as you're of age, obviously, and, legal to purchase something like this, then, try it out, and, before you buy whatever. And that's considered illegal, I guess. And as far as I know, this ruling that came down did not change that at all. So it still would be something that you would have to pay for. Hence the idea of 2-bit hit. Yeah, we kind of coined that, but it's one of those things like, I can't remember if we coined it or not. Maybe a listener did. I can't remember, but you come in, here's 2 bits. Let me try your pipe tobacco. And so that's the idea. Anyway, a lot of interesting things happening right now, but we're going to continue to blend and to smoke and to enjoy and to promote.
All right, man.
And all that.
Well, hey, speaking of promotion, we've got some great pipes we want to promote this episode. And of course, I'm talking about the great pipes from our good friends at Missouri Meerschaum.
That's right. Of course, they have such a great variety, and there's so many awesome pipe tobaccos that are out, both new and old, that folks want to try. And of course, there's no greater pipe to try them in than your clean, brand new Missouri Meerschaum. Of course, they're all so good to go after because they're inexpensive, really accessible from any standpoint. The variety is incredible. Of course, you've got large bowls and small, short, and long stems. Just a variety of finishes to meet your kind of country look, if that's something you want to do, more of a Farmer John, or if you're going for something a little more sophisticated. There's things all over the map that they have in their lineup, and so we're proud supporters of Missouri Meerschaum, and just such a great American tradition, and we think what they're doing are great.
You said from Farmer John to sophisticated?
Yeah,
we're gonna get some farmer feedback on that comment.
They can be both. Farmer John, it sometimes is sophisticated. It depends on if he's putting on his his overalls or if he's going to the country club that night.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. And
Yeah.
more props to you if you put on your overalls to go to the country club. And if you do, we
They might
hope you
be-
bring a
they might
Missouri
be-
Meerschaum pipe along with you.
No, they might be your dress overalls, and if they are, then you probably got that pocket just for your Missouri Meerschaum.
Tell you what, let's do this. This week, if you happen to be smoking your Missouri Meerschaum pipe, throw on your overalls as well. Tweet us a picture of that. We would love to see it, and we'd love to retweet that. It's a great
We
way
certainly would.
to let the good folks at Missouri Meerschaum know that we appreciate them for sponsoring this show. Pipe question of the week this week comes in from Gregory Caesar. He said, question for the show. He says, my question is in regards into the negativity in some circles regarding Chinese-made briar pipes. I own quite a few HS Studio pipes and enjoy them all. Most are not traditional shape pipes and some are traditional shape, but I've never had a problem with any of them. No matter where I smoke one or post a picture on social media, in the pipe groups I belong to, I get great compliments until I mention they're Chinese made. Then the negative comments start. Taking out any political arguments, why the hate? Your thoughts? Thanks, guys. That again from Gregory Caesar.
Yeah, Gregory, interesting question. Obviously, I think this has a lot of baggage potentially from just perhaps other things that are made in China. We think about mass-produced stuff. It's not necessarily a function of how good is the pipe actually. It's more the connotations that go with, oh, well, are you buying American or are you buying Chinese or what's the
quality? Pipes are like made in Italy.
But what's the quality of something made in China versus the quality of something made here in the United States or in Europe? And so I think that there's a bleed over from that. Obviously, there are crummy pipes that are made in China, just like there are crummy pipes made in the United States and in Europe and everywhere else. But there are some incredible.
Go to any pipe show in America, you will see a vast array
the
of
spectrum.
The spectrum.
Yeah, it's just a spectrum.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, and
some amazing work.
No, and amazing work and some
up and coming. Let's say.
Yeah. Well, you're right. Future up and comers.
Let's call it.
Not even up and comers, but future up and comers.
Yeah. That's good. Let's go.
And obviously that happens. In all markets. Now I will say, one thing there was a few years ago, and I can't remember what. It may have been Briarworks. There was some manufacturer that came out with a bunch of cool shapes and designs, and there was some controversy because a Chinese factory started basically copying those designs without permission, and so there was some kind of controversy within the pipe world. I cannot remember the manufacturer, but there was
a clarification on that.
They were making pipes, and then this Chinese factory kind of basically commandeered all these designs and started faking them, and so there was this kind of thing going on. Is that related to the pipes that you're smoking? Probably not. It's one of those things. It just depends completely on the artisan, on the quality of the briar, the quality of the stem material, the time that went in, the craftsmanship that went into producing all this. And man, I'd say if your Chinese pipe maker was using all the top shelf stuff and putting all the time into it, then obviously it's worth every penny that you paid for.
Were you familiar with that brand that he mentioned?
I'm actually not. Yeah, I should be. HS Studio. Not familiar to him, to be quite honest. But
I might have to do a
but there's some great Chinese pipe makers. So
that's good.
Yeah,
I find it ironic that on the we're frustrated with the regulation, we also point out if only there was more regulation on making sure that people didn't steal pipe design.
I know, right? Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
All right. Well, great pipe question, Gregory. And hey, if you've got a pipe question of the week, please send it in. show@countrysquireradio.com. Again, that's show@countrysquireradio.com. Quickfire questions! Ow! All right, man. Quickfire questions coming in. Brought to us by the Tin Society. Ow! More on them and kind of something special about to announce there.
I know, we're excited. Yeah, that's great.
Talk about that in just a second. All right, man. This is the last batch from our good friend at Anonymous. Again, this is not the hacktivist group Anonymous. This is just someone who has clarified very specifically that they want to be called Anonymous. Ironically, in all caps, like the hacktivist group Anonymous. But we're pretty sure the show hasn't been hacked. We're like 90% sure. 80-ish,
right?
Somewhere in there. All right, are you ready, man?
Yep.
All right, this continues the theme of adventure.
Okay, yeah. Well, these have been fun.
Yeah. All right, so would you rather discover a new species or find a species thought to be extinct?
Definitely find a species thought to be extinct. Imagine I'm in Bellhaven neighborhood in Jackson. I'm out back cutting my grass, and there's a dodo, or like
No, that's your dog Penny.
Or what? No, that's my neighbor, right? Yeah, no, just something like that. Like, I mean, imagine the guy that like found what was that fish, the coelacanth, that's been hiding in the oceans for literally millennia, and it was just thought extinct. It's one of those things. Oh, I would love to be that guy. I'd love to be that guy.
Man.
Even because there's always new stuff to discover, right? There's always some
Like
new
some
little
amoeba or something like that. Yeah.
little widget thing with, oh, this one's got 8 legs instead of 5 legs or whatever. Like, well, who cares about that? But man, you found the thing that like everyone thought was gone. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I want that one.
Yeah, that's good.
It's like finding like
and then you start a dodo park.
Oh, a dodo park, a petting dodo zoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like 15 years later, you reboot it into Dodo World.
Right.
And then you make what's probably going to be a lackluster sequel to that.
All right, we're kind of going off the rails.
But you're
here,
starring Chris Pratt with
but
the dodos.
Right. No, that's it.
People will pay money to see Chris Pratt pet a dodo.
Yes, they would. They would pay good money for that.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. The thing is, here in Mississippi,
he's such an idiot.
Me or Chris Pratt?
But no,
yes,
definitely you. Right.
So here in Mississippi, of course, unfortunately, during the age of the dinosaurs, we were underwater. So every prehistoric like animal that we could potentially
around here
find,
tends to be like a fish,
like giant whales with teeth.
Yeah.
I'm sure they have actual scientific names, but that's basically what they were.
Yeah. Yeah. So would you find yourself in that camp? Also?
I kind of, yeah,
ish.
I'd like a stegosaurus.
Yeah.
You couldn't write a stegosaurus though. Maybe a
I'd like to be the guy, like 50 years from now, when everyone thinks that there is no Christmas cheer left in the world. I'd like to be the guy that opens a cabinet in some dusty cellar somewhere and finds the unopened can of Christmas cheer. That's the guy I want.
So you want to be Russ Hicks?
I want to know where Russ Hicks's basement is in 50 years. Russ, no, Russ, don't, trust me. I'll look out for the people that are going to inherit your cellar.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
And by look out for them, I'll steal everything from them. I'm just kidding.
All right, ready? Cash in on a wondrous discovery or donate it to the appropriate institute. Depends on the discovery.
Can you do both? Can you say like, oh, I'm going to give the majority of this to my favorite institute, but selfishly
for a small fee?
Yeah, for a small fee,
a large fee.
Well, I mean, you went to the
institute.
You went to the thing for the trouble of finding that or whatever, even if you just walked through your yard and stubbed your toe on some ancient relic, like I mean, that was your toe that got stubbed
and on your property.
Yeah, it was on your property. So yeah, I mean, I think you ought to get something.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to that.
At least maintain like the the book rights or something.
See, that's the thing. I feel like, and again, it really depends on what this is.
Does that make me a bad person?
Well, no, but see, here's the thing. You could send it to the institute and still cash in on the book rights and the speaking deals. Like you can still make money without having to make money. You know what I mean? Like there's ways there.
Yeah.
If it's like the cure to cancer, yeah, let's give that to the appropriate institute. But if it's like, the dodo, dude, you got to cash in on that dodo. You're going to get Chris Pratt to be in a movie. You
want to come pet the dodo,
and
you want to come watch Chris Pratt pet the dodo? Like you got to pay up.
Yeah,
you gotta have to pay up.
The Chris Pratt Institute is not getting that dodo money. I'm getting that dodo money and that Chris Pratt money.
I want that dodo money.
And finally, and this is really what it's all about. Adventuring pipe. Do you go bent or straight?
I am a straight pipe smoker, but if I'm walking, if I'm lunting, if I'm working in the yard, I tend to prefer bent pipes. Now, I say that with a little hesitation because I still have a lot of straight pipes in my work pipe rotation. Matter of fact, my favorite work pipe is a straight pipe. But on average, if I'm out doing something, that requires a lot of physical activity, trekking through the woods or whatever, I would think, not since I don't do that very often, but I would think I would probably prefer a bent pipe. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, there is kind of something iconic about the bent pipe You think the classic adventurer who's venturing forth into the woods of the jungles, don't you know? And he's got his bent pipe that he has just packed down with fine tobacco. Of course, it's English, and this is the time, of course, where English tobacco didn't have any flavor whatsoever. That's perfectly fine, and he's so terribly sorry that he's even smoking. This is probably going in your face. Let me put it out immediately. I'm going to go with the bent pipe as well.
Yeah, I think that's best. Yeah.
British listeners, please still listen to this show.
That's good. I don't know. You've gotten some props on your British accent.
Hey,
so
I'll take it.
That's good.
I'll take it. I'm sure the fact that it was my birthday had nothing to do. Well, great quickfire questions again from Anonymous. And hey, if you've got some quickfire questions, actually, those of you who are members of the club, actually in our group, we've got a nice channel to put it there. But we also love getting those in. Show at countrysquireradio.com is the place to send those in. Now, of course, quickfire questions is brought to us by the good folks at the Tin Society.
That's right.
Now, this is exciting, man, because right here in my possession, which was recently in your possession up until I just grabbed it, is actually a box, a monthly subscription box from the Tin Society.
That's right.
John David, what is the Tin Society?
It's awesome. It's a great, incredible service that basically delivers curated pipe tobaccos to your door every month. And so if there's all kinds of tobaccos that you'd like to try out there, but maybe haven't had the courage to purchase that $15, $20 tin of tobacco, but have wanted to sample things and just kind of see what's out there. Also, wanted the idea of maybe finding some tobaccos that are outside of your wheelhouse. How do you find some tobaccos that are quality, highly recommended tobaccos, but you just want to try samples of. And of course, the Tin Society is the group that you need to link up with. So it basically is bringing the modern subscription service to the pipe tobacco world, and it's such an excellent idea. So great samples inside. Each sample of tobacco is gives you the opportunity to smoke it a few times just to see is this something that you're interested in? Is it something that expands your palate? Is it something that even if it's something that tells you, hey, I'm never going to smoke that again, it definitely is adding to your pipe wisdom. And so, the folks at Tin Society do a great job of curating the service.
And I've mentioned it before, but their branding is amazing.
Don't you love it?
I'm really
turn that up so people can can see that.
Beautiful packaging. And so here's the deal, guys. What the live channel is seeing right now is actually what your monthly box looks like. However, what we're going to do is we're actually going to do an unboxing of this very box. So to find out what's in the box, you're going to have to check out our YouTube channel and check that out. You remember the what's in the box from Saturday Night Live? You know what I'm talking about?
With Justin Timberlake?
Yeah, Justin Timberlake.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's not that, but this is going to be really good. This is going to be really good. So check it out. tinsociety.com is the place to go. Use the code SQUIRE for 20% off on your first month's service. Plus, get yourself a nice Missouri Meerschaum pipe along the way. Again, that is the code SQUIRE for 20% off on your first month's service.
We definitely know it's not that. Definitely.
We haven't done the video yet. Anyway, listener feedback this week. Mike, cut out we haven't done the video yet, please.
I think you should leave it in.
No,
I don't know.
Listener feedback this week, man. First listener feedback in is actually an iTunes review from Pipe and Tamper. What did Pipe and Tamper have to say?
Dude, I love this. Yeah, Pipe and Tamper, he says the gold standard. Country Squire Radio is hands down the gold standard for tobacco pipe podcasts. The hosts are honest, fun to listen to, and keep things real. I'm a podcaster myself. As a podcaster myself, I really appreciate the high quality production they release week after week. Thanks, guys. Man, this is really kind. So Pipe and Tamper, he's got his own podcast. This guy, man, it's a newer podcast. He's done, from what I've heard, just some awesome work. Really, engaging, very well researched, and man, of course, man, congrats on your own podcast. I hope that continues to do well. We encourage our folks to check out Pipe and Tamper on iTunes and. Man, brother, thanks for the really kind words. Yeah, that's really, really kind.
Props to you, sir, because I've given your show a listen, a couple episodes, and man, you also make a very high quality show. So big ups to you, and thanks so much for the kind words. Again, that's Pipe and Tamper. That's his iTunes handle, and I think also the name of the podcast as well.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Be sure to check that out.
Yep.
We also got Heavy Wilderness writes in. What did Heavy Wilderness have to say?
Gotta say, I think you guys should revisit the rope/twist. I find it to be comparable to charred steak and an excellent late night smoke, as the nicotine gently lulls me to sleep every time. Not for the faint of heart. Thanks, guys. Love the show. So that's from Heavy Wilderness. Yeah.
When's the last time that we did a rope and twist show?
It's been a couple years, I think. We've talked about the Twist tobaccos, and we could revisit them.
No,
I
that
don't
might
know.
be worth it. Let us know what y'all think.
I'll have to do it on a full stomach.
We also had Parson Rick right in. He said, we'd asked the question, what would your last smoke be?
Yeah.
He said last smoke for aromatic would be Parsons Blend.
Yep.
English would be Stokeby's Proper English.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
And then finally, Doug Owen writes in. What did Doug have to say?
Yeah, Doug, of course, another retailer we love Doug, and a good friend of the show. I bought the Milton Sherman book at my local tobacconist in 1970, and from the moment I fell in love with the business, and within a couple of years, I had landed a position at the tinderbox and have loved every minute of pipe shop experience. You're right. In those days, such blends as Presbyterian mixture had little or no Latakia added. One thing to keep in mind is that those non-Latakia blends contained very well-aged Orientals and Virginias. That's true, which held their own well without the help of heavy doses of Latakia. Another good example of that non-Latakia English mixture is the early Dunhill version of Baby's Bottom, which was a very light Latakia mixture. It, as you know, was reintroduced a couple of years ago as BB. So the BB blend that is now on the market.
8?
No, but it is BB. And it's not the robot variety. But he says probably because the politically incorrect nature of the original name, Baby's Bottom. And he says a good example, I think, of the oversensitivity of the PC crowd today. Keep puffing, Doug Owen.
I don't know. I don't know that I want to smoke Baby's Bottom.
I don't know. I mean,
you want to smoke Baby's Bottom? Say that. Say that on the mic right now.
I want to get that on audio. Right. Well, you're not tonight, sir.
I think that's marketing.
But yeah, I mean, I think he's got a point. But at the same time, like, yeah, no, we'll just call it BB.
All right, yeah.
Doug, yeah, thanks for the feedback, Doug. We always love hearing from you.
If it was Mark BB, maybe that's BB8 and Mark VV. If they were to merge into one person that was also a tobacco, they'd be Mark BB.
Man, stuff coming from Twitter. We've got from Russ. We mentioned earlier in the show just how would you look at Russ's artwork. Our friend, of course, Russ Hicks. He says his Instagram is rhicksart. That's RHIXART, all one word, and that's on Twitter and on Instagram. Yep. Also got some stuff. Our friend Eric, Absubtilis87, who says, have you tried the new Sutliff 515 RC1 or 507S? They're supposed to be replacements for 5100 and 5105.
Have you?
And I have not actually. I'll be honest, I'm a little skeptical, but I'd love to try them. Yeah, would love to try them. Yeah.
All right.
And then of course, a friend Punk Rock Piper, good friend of the show. He says, now it's up to us to practice civil disobedience and ignore and refuse to follow FDA regulations, appeal, sue again, sue the judge. If these laws pass, we need a leader to refuse to follow treasonous invasions. And, I'm not going to disagree. And we'll leave it at that.
Oh, my. All right. Well, good stuff, man. So look, we really appreciate all of this feedback, but we especially enjoy getting those iTunes reviews in. So if you've never done it before, head over to iTunes and write us a review. Those 4 and 5-star reviews go a long way to help out the show without spending a dime. But if you don't mind spending a dime, head over to patreon.com/Country Squire Radio, where you too can join the Country Squire Radio International Pipe Club. Or if you just want to help out the show, send $1 every single episode. That's awesome as well.
Yeah, we like that too.
All the details available at patreon.com/Country Squire Radio, and the links there can be found at countrysquireradio.com. Also, you can keep up with us throughout the week. You can follow me. I'm at The Real Beau York.
I'm at John David Cole, or you can get us at the shop at @_Country Squire.
Of course, the show's handle as well as @Squire Radio, but all that information and more. And all that information and more can be found at countrysquireradio.com.
Hey, you did it, man.
Yeah. I'll tell you what else I did. I probably shouldn't have made that box reference.
Probably not.
The way that Twitter's blowing.
Probably not. But I'm thankful for it. That kind of stuff happens occasionally, and we're glad to embrace it.
They did a follow-up on SNL where so like the guest was taking questions from the audience,
right?
But then all the audience members were like characters that they had done from SNL, and so it was Andy Samberg reprising his role as whatever that character's name is, and he's like, I got an idea. What if you did a sketch that was like a mystery? And he's like, what would the mystery be? He's like, what's in the box? and the guy says, well, I think we all know what's in the box. He was like, yeah, but what if it's something different?
It might be something different.
Well, the guy says, like, well, is it something different? And Samberg replies, no.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, but anyway, we do have an unboxing video that we're really excited to put out on our YouTube channel.
From our friends at the Tin Society.
Absolutely. You can also catch the show live at countrysquireradio.com every single Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. That's 6:30 Pacific and 9:30 Eastern. Again, that's at countrysquireradio.com. All right, man.
Dude, I had fun, man. It's always good hanging out. Good Memorial Day weekend. Nice way to cap off the weekend with some good friends, and we're thankful to be here.
Yeah, man.
As
Props
always.
to you too, because I mean, like the shop was closed, but you still opened it up, like powered up the old power converters, or the things that make the lights go. I've had some scotch tonight, guys.
The old supercharger.
The supercharger,
Right?
Yeah, got that going and
Right.
everything else, and man, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go into Taji Station to make sure they're all working right.
Yeah, you got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to do it. Let's go tonight.
Bye, brother.
All right, guys. Thank y'all so much. Oh my gosh, have you seen the Han Solo movie?
I haven't.
It's good. I did not expect for it to be good. No, I really didn't.
You liked it?
I did.
Okay.
And I really did not think I was going to, but
Okay.
it was really good. The
Okay.
guy that everybody thought was going to be terrible because like they brought in did you hear the back story?
I honestly don't know much about it.
They
Yeah.
brought in like an acting coach for this guy because like there was rumors that like he couldn't act. And so that, aside from the fact they had the other directors come in, then Ron Howard, Opie came in. To
yeah, right.
They brought him in to fix it, and he fixed it. And then the new guy is actually really good. He makes it his own, but like it still pays homage, and it's surprisingly
Oh,
good.
it's good. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, go see the Solo movie.
Okay.
Because it didn't do very well in its opening weekend, but it's actually good. And
Yeah.
there's a surprise at the end, but I'm not going to spoil it.
Yeah,
All right,
don't
guys.
do that.
Also,